Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Reaction and Review UK, all a part of September month. So far, we've hung out with the Goonies, went looking for the Holy Grail, went back to the future, caught some ghosts, and we rode the Blazing Saddle. So, what are we up to today? That's a very good question. An elementary, my dear Watson. Okay, that was really bad. I apologise for that, but as you've guessed by the title of my rather poor, so jump into it. Today we're taking a look at Sherlock Holmes, not to be confused with the BBC series and the rather shitty-looking American show. Come on, it looks shitty. I mean, Lucy Liu as Watson, what were you thinking? She's hot, mind you, but what were you thinking? But anyway, of course, this is, what's his name? Is it Jude Law? No, this is Guy Pearce's reimagining. Yeah, imagine Jude Law made this. Oh, God. This is Guy Pearce's reimagining of the old detective stories, but is this a kind of old movie? I mean, this was like, what, 2010, 2011? Or maybe it's not that old, so we're not going to give it the nostalgia test for this one, but is this still a good movie after a couple of years? Well then, let's find out, shall we? With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I've only just woken up, so sorry if I'm a little bit rusty here. Yeah, I know, but what are you going to do? Grab some a drink. It's time to kick back, relax, and let's watch Sherlock Holmes.
Summary prognosis: conscious in 90 seconds, martial efficacy, quarter of an hour at best, full faculty recovery, unlikely.
Hey, let me try that. Grab bottle with right arm, twist open lid with left hand, sip, summary, thirsty, need drink. Nah, his was better.
Gently, Watson. Be gentle with me.
Oh yeah, definitely had days like that. You know, I don't really remember much about the Sherlock Holmes books growing up, but I don't remember him being in Fight Club. I don't know what it is. I'm watching this movie and it's talking me to like Sherlock Holmes. Yes, down here. Ready father, Jimmy Carr. A Dr. Pepper. I do believe you don't have a medical license. Most engaging. I'll stop it with that. I don't know why, but the music in these fight scenes is like a weird cross between like Irish and French. That is like an official term for this kind of music, but that's exactly what it sounds like, a weird like French and Irish thing going on here. I don't think they had that back in that time period.
I dare say we have the right man, gentlemen. Sherlock Holmes.
Well, we were going to hire this other guy, but he dresses like a bat. Very uncouth, yes?
I have returned from beyond the grave to fulfill England's destiny.
Of being an even shitter country?
The boundaries of this
I'm just saying is all. I don't know about you guys, but there's something weird about seeing Sherlock Holmes fighting people to the death and shit. It just doesn't seem right. Sherlock Holmes always struck me as the kind of guy who would just talk you to death. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like watching Phoenix Wright fight people or something. Oh, wait. Well, that was Sherlock Holmes. Let's just, stop that using my radio wave device. How extraordinary. Yeah, I'll stop with that. Okay then, I want to tackle characters first, and then we'll sort of just go into things as we move along. Don't make a repeat last time. Now, start with the title character, Robert Downey Jr. Really plays Sherlock Holmes in a rather different way. I mean, to be fair, I don't really know much about Sherlock Holmes. I mean, when I just started getting into the character, I might even pick up one of the books at some point. Really plays him in this kind of like very calm and overconfident manner, in this rather peculiar speech, yes, down here, in that words, of that manner. I mean, the only other version of Sherlock I've seen, well, two versions I've seen, is one from the TV series, which Cara let me watch for a little bit, and of course the BBC series, which is absolutely amazing, and you need to see it, trust me. But yeah, I really love this version of Sherlock. He's just overconfident, and he plays it in a way you just can't help but laugh. You know, it's such a radical departure from like Iron Man. Although in a sense, the way he kind of plays Sherlock, it's almost like a Victorian Iron Man, or Tony Stark, shall we say. But it's just, I was trying to find the right word just to, you know, compose myself here. Okay. I think he does a very good portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, although I'm not particularly fond of the whole, like, fighting things. Like I said, I mean, I never really pictured Sherlock Holmes as the kind of guy who would, you know, get into fisticuffs. That's all like Batman's repertoire, because they're both detectives and whatnot, but I always saw Sherlock more just as a talking guy and who solves the mysteries. He's not, you know, I've never imagined him, you know, getting into fights. But overall, I do like how Robert Downey Jr. approaches this, and I haven't seen the sequel yet, and hopefully it will keep up. Jude Law as Watson. Watson in this movie, I kind of like the character. He always serves kind of like as the straight man to Sherlock's shenanigans. It's sort of like, well, he approaches everything with the attitude of, why am I here? Like, why am I getting myself in this? And the fucking bickering between these two. It's like an old married couple. I know people use the term like a bromance between the two, but I just think like the old married couple just works better. Just the bickering, the arguing. It's just really funny, and it's just, it's just trying to find the words to describe it. It's one of those kind of like colleague relationships, like big brother, little brother. It's just, yeah, it's that. On his own, though, he does have a few good moments. I mean, the "trust me, I'm a doctor" line was pretty funny, but you sort of feel like if it was just Jude Law by himself, it wouldn't be that savoury, it wouldn't be that enjoyable. He sort of needs someone to bounce off, and with Robert Downey's character, that is just perfect match. Mark Strong as Lord Blackwood, very intimidating performance. And it often reminds me of something that Robert De Niro once said. He once said that powerful men never shout. And you knew this guy was a force to be reckoned with because he just approached every line down here. Almost like he was trying to be Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm never going to raise my voice and just talk to you like this. You know I can fuck you up in many ways than you can possibly imagine. You know, something like that. But, yeah, I mean, just, you didn't see him that often, but when he appeared, like, he did like, these things to make you jump, especially in the slaughterhouse, he just appears out of the wall. Very, very good. I mean, not the most terrifying villain I've ever seen on screen, but yeah, he's probably in my top 5 of like really creepy, intimidating villains. But yeah, probably a good contrast to Sherlock, and very. Rachel McAdams as Irene Adler is the real weak link of this movie. I mean, she's a pretty thing, don't get me wrong, but she just didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. I mean, half of her lines, it was like, "Come with me, Sherlock. I will tell you everything." I mean, you sort of felt like she can't hold a whole scene by herself. It's the same thing with Jude Law. If she was just there by herself, it would be fucking boring. Really fucking boring. And just, I really wish they would cast somebody else. That's the giant nitpick I have with this movie. Just, Irene Adler was casted poorly. Now, of course, the BBC Sherlock series, much better Irene Adler. Very intimidating and just a much more playful character. I mean, you do get hints of it with Rachel's portrayal of Irene, but it's just, it feels forced, like she's trying to be something she's not. But that's about it. I mean, you can sort of look at her and sort of think, like, you're the one who's really going to do it? Like, fuck you. Yeah, whatever you say, but yeah. I mean, a couple of other characters, but I think one of my favourite performances in the movie is Moriarty himself. Now, I know the second movie does elaborate on Moriarty, but in this one, the little you see of him, it says everything it needs to. You never see his face, which I thought was a nice touch. And just, always in the shadows, just very good. I think it's probably my third favourite performance in the whole movie. Just saying. The setting, very authentic to the old days. I keep getting this wrong, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the Victorian age or the 19th century? Oh, no, my luck, it's probably the same thing. You know, very true to the style of the time. The music, at times, like a weird cross between, like, violins with, like, sort of like a French or maybe, like, Irish feel. I know it's not one of those two, but that's kind of my impression I got of it. It had this very sort of Frenchy, Irish kind of, like, feel to it. Was not really a big fan of just, like, Sherlock and Watson just getting into fights all the time, because that's sort of more like Batman's thing. I mean, yeah, they're both detectives. I know I'm repeating myself here, and I apologise. But you always imagine Batman to be the guy who will solve the crime and do detective work, and then he'd get into a fight with somebody. But Sherlock, like I said, he doesn't strike me as the kind of character that would do that. I mean, For all I know, he probably did get into fights, but again, I'm still learning about this medium. The sort of slow motion effect, I know Guy Ritchie loves this fucking shit, and he kind of tries to interpret a lot of his lock, stock, and two smoking barrels bullshit into these movies, which is a real shame. That's sort of another detractor. It's just, it does have a detective angle, but at times it feels like it's trying to be like another sort of like lock, stock, and gangster-y kind of thing. Story did everything it needed to. It sort of showed the dysfunctional relationship between Sherlock and Watson. And just overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It's not very nostalgic. It's 2009, so we're not going to give it a nostalgia test for this one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It got me into Sherlock Holmes, and it introduced me to the BBC series, which, like I said, now I'm repeating myself, you need to see that series. It is fucking amazing. 2 seasons are out now, and it makes me wonder if they could just redo this movie with the BBC cast. That would make this movie probably one of the greatest movies that ever existed, but we can only live and dream, can't we? You can find this movie now pretty cheap as chips on most DVD stores like Amazon, Play, which is a UK website. Very good, by the way. And you can probably find it on Netflix as well. Probably not on YouTube because I looked. Or have I? Most engaging. Sorry. So yeah. Very good movie. You need to check this out. And I have heard bad things about the sequel. I mean, most people have told me the sequel isn't that good, but I'm probably going to find a copy of it one day, and who knows, we might do another video for that. But for now, good movie. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of another Reaction and Review UK. I have been Random, take care, and I'll see you all in the near future. Peace.
A technology of that kind would be worth an untold fortune. Imagine being able to control any device simply by sending a command via radio waves.
Yeah, imagine that.
That's the future, Watson.
Alright, it's not exactly the same thing, or maybe it is.